Hey all. So we're doing a sort of book tag. It's the A to Z book tag that everybody's been doing. And we wanted to do it in a sort of us way. So there are basically 26 items that are book related. And there's, is it hot or not? Obviously we're going to explain. So we're going to do our instant reaction. So like, yes, you like it or you don't like it. And then kind of a quick why we picked that. So instead of saying hot or not, or, just sitting here, we decided we would do quick response, which would be use Charmander. This is my Charmander. What's your Charmander look like? So we got two Charmanders. And so this is
butts on fire.
This is if it's hot. So we like the thing Charmander. If we don't like it, it's Piplup. Not because Piplup's not hot, but just because he's cold. You see? So hot or cold. Why do you keep taking over my Piplups? So anyway, so if you see Piplup come up from one of us, it means we don't like it. If you see Charmander, it means we do. And without further ado, we're gonna hot or not. A to Z, 26 bookish things. So the first one, A, audiobook. Yeah.
Womp womp.
I don't do audiobooks. I've realized, one, I don't retain anything. I have really bad ADHD, and so what happens is I just forget I'm listening to a book, and I go off and do something else and leave the room, and the book is playing, and I'm like, oh, I forgot I was listening to a book, or I fall asleep. I also have anxiety, so then I get anxious that I wasn't paying attention, and then it's a whole thing. So it's not worth it. I just read the book. And I think, I'm not saying, some people I know obviously have disabilities. They need to use audiobooks. And I think sometimes certain books are probably better suited for being audio. The type of books I like a lot of twisty, very first person narrative. I don't like hearing other people's perspective of that narrative. So yeah, audiobooks just don't work for me. What about you?
Yeah, I'm not a big fan because they're not the worst if I have a very long commute sometimes. I have in the past sometimes listened to audiobooks in the car, but I can't listen to them anywhere else. I'm not gonna just sit somewhere and listen to a book.
Then you might as well read
I'm gonna do something else, and then I'm gonna be distracted. The other issue I have
or if you're at the gym, I guess. Not that we don't go.
I suppose. Back when I used to go to the gym, I was much more music than audiobook.
Yeah.
But the other thing I have is most audiobooks are done by one person. And if that person is a guy and does a girl voice, or is a girl and does a guy voice, it just always seems really weird and awkward to me. I don't like that. And if they have multiple people, that's a little better. But then invariably one of them's kind of a crap actor, and so it's
yeah.
They don't read the speed I want them to read at. I'm always go faster. So yeah, not a fan of Le Book d'Audio. That's not really French.
Right. Wouldn't it be Libra the audio?
Libra, I assume d'Audio. I'm not sure if audio is actually a French word.
All right, so number 2 is B, Bildungsroman. Oh, that is hot for me. I'm a big fan of coming-of-age stories.
I mean, I'm going to go with Slush.
No, you're not supposed to go with Slush. You have to pick one and then respond.
Slush?
No. You're cheating already on B.
I guess I'll go with a very light Charmander. I don't mind them. I just feel like I've read enough of them at this point that I'm not going to get too hyped up about seeing the
Yeah, you have to be good. You have to do something
I've
new.
seen a bunch of times.
But, really good coming-of-age stories can be amazing. Jane Eyre is, considered, the preeminent Bildungsroman.
Yeah, there's great coming-of-age stories. I've just seen so many that I'm not opposed to them. I'm fine reading them. I just don't get all hyped up for them, which is why I was trying to go Slush.
Right.
But
I guess technically it's not only coming of age, but that's, the sort of modern equivalent. We don't really do Bildungsroman, life stories of various ages and stages of your life. It's not really a thing we do anymore.
I can't be reading all of Philip Pirrip's boring-ass situations.
Right, we don't have, a modern equivalent to things like Dickens and Jane Eyre and those Victorian tomes. But I do think, the concept is something I still like. All right, so number 3, and this is, mostly hot for me. This is C, is children's books. So that's mostly hot.
I like children's books, depending on the children's book.
Right.
But, I love me some Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. I love me some Bunnicula. I can get down with the occasional goofy, stupid thing. So Yeah.
Well, there's some really good stuff. Like, I just read a middle grade book, and I'm reading one now, and I'm like, wow, I'm starting to think, like, I need to just read more middle grade, because I feel like I, for a long time, was like, okay, I'd read YA, and then I'm like, I don't need to read middle grade. But, like, there's a lot of good stuff in middle grade right now.
I don't know. Middle grade's a tough spot for me, though. This is what I've read.
You just mentioned a bunch of middle grade.
No, that's lower grade. That's like kids. That's like third grade.
It's like fourth-ish.
Once you get into like that 7 to like 8, 6 range, grade-wise, you get a lot of books that are like deliberately thin and like not. I don't want to say poorly written because they're deliberately like
young.
Wiped clean.
Well, you don't like you like The Outsiders, even though you don't like The Outsiders.
The Outsiders is horrifically badly written.
Right, but you still like it.
The story is good, but it's such a pile of garbage from a writing standpoint. It frustrates me. Whenever I teach it, I have a grinometer. We count the number of times she uses grin in a book, and it's like 126 or something like that. It's absurd.
Did you read Percy Jackson?
No.
I
read the first one.
I actually like the King
plenty.
Chronicles better than Percy Jackson. I like the Egyptian myths better, but
We have 26 things on this list, right?
yeah, we gotta
We're
go
going to have
fast.
to go fast. It's going to be a 2-hour video.
So, number 4D, digital. Yes, hot. I like ebooks.
I mean,
I like ebooks. They read faster for me. I just enjoy them. Also, they take up less space.
it's a very light fire because I prefer other books, but it is pretty convenient to have stuff on digital.
Yeah, we're saying this as we're literally right now. You can't tell, but we're very condensed around this camera.
Swarms of books.
Because there's so many books. Like, our house is out of
It's
control.
like the trouble with tribbles in here, but with books.
Yeah, so, digital. Good. Condensing the books. Okay, so E is going to be a soft hot for me. This is experimental.
Okay. So, because I'm currently reading a book that would be considered experimental, and I'm kind of despising it, I'm going to go with cold here. Because, like, I like creativity, but at some point it just gets to be pompous douchebaggery.
Yeah, well, that's how I just had that with my West Hart Killer review. And the thing is, like, I like experimental fiction, and I like when you try new things, and I like meta and stuff, but, like, it can be very easy to be bad. But when it's done well, I think it's great. I love when people, like, subvert expectations and go against genre.
There are a couple books that I've liked like that, but more often than not, I'm not. I just so happen to be reading one right now that I'm really not enjoying.
So for F, this is going to be sad, but I think I'm going to have to admit this. This is fantasy, and I am cold.
Boop. So yeah, I like fantasy books. Admittedly, a lot of them are kind of super tropey. It's one of the more trope-infested genres, but I still like them. I don't care.
Yeah, the thing is, like, I've been really struggling. I keep wanting to like fantasy, and part of it is, like, luckily now people have, like, started to differentiate between fantasy and romantasy, and I think that might help me to, like, get to, like, actual fantasy books I might like, because I really like A Song of Ice and Fire. I thought Lord of the Rings was okay. I mean, it's a little...
read one book. It doesn't count.
Right, but I still thought it was okay. I love Harry Potter. I mean, so those are all fantasy. But a lot of the stuff I've read that people recommend that's, like, really popular fantasy is basically just romance with, like, a sword every so often, and I don't like that. And then I've tried to read other fantasy, and I did like Prince of Thorns, but sometimes it just feels like too much, and it's, like, just too much of an escape. I like a little bit of realism. So, yeah, I just think I don't think I generally like fantasy. I think I need, like, it to be just exceptional for me to really like it. I love, like, there's a few fantasy novels on my top 100, but...
Set a timer.
Yeah, all right. All right, number, whatever, G.
Number G.
G
is a classic.
Graphic novel. Yeah, of course.
Oh, yeah, I like graphic novels.
We're comic readers, so...
I like a lot of graphic novels. I like collected comic book graphic novels. I like standalone graphic novels. I like educational graphic novels. I like stupid graphic novels. I'll take them all.
Yeah, I love graphic novels. I mean, I'm not necessarily going to go read, like, the graphic novel version of every book because I just read the book. But, like, I mean, sometimes you will if it's a story you really like. And I mean, what's not to love about, like, especially when it's a good artist, when it's basically just artistic element to a book that you like. You know, certain books obviously translate better than others. But, yeah, I like a good graphic novel. So, H is a little iffy for me. I'm saying hot. It's horror.
Well, why do you put the Charmander up before you even tell me what the category is?
I don't know.
Just the other next thing is potatoes. Ooh, delicious.
So you like horror?
Yeah, I really like horror. It's probably my favorite genre. The problem is there's a lot of really crap horror horror out there.
Yeah.
Sort of like very similar to horror movies.
Right.
You have to sit through a bunch of absolute trash to find some really great
I
stuff.
do love horror, but it's like horror movies. I can honestly watch the worst horror movies and still enjoy them. Because I love horror. But horror fiction tends to be, especially modern fiction, tends to be either just bad or really like obsessed with being as gory and gross as possible, and then it's just not interesting to me. But you know, it's harder when you're committing to a book. Books take longer. Books take longer than a book. So,
That's your timer.
fine. All right. I is inspirational.
Nah.
Yeah,
I don't give a crap.
I like dark fiction.
Don't inspire me. I'll punch you in the face.
I mean, it does. You know, every so often there might be something good, but like one, I'm not into the religious stuff, and
It's
two,
probably going to be cheesy as hell. I'm just not going to want to be.
yeah, I generally like dark. The darker
I
the
don't want
better.
to be inspired. I want to be miserable.
So J is journalism. So I'd probably go with I like documentaries. I like.
As a person who used to write for a newspaper as a journalist, I can say confidently, no.
You don't like reading like.
I don't like doing.
You don't really like nonfiction.
I don't
anyway.
like writing journalism. I don't like reading it. I'm out.
All right. K is kitsch. Not for me.
Corny.
Yeah, like
goofy,
cheesy and cutesy.
Yeah, I don't.
That's just not for me. I
don't
told you
really
dark.
like
Give me
that.
the dark.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I'm not interested.
L is library, and that is like literally on fire. Who doesn't love the library? It's the greatest place on earth. Disney is going to argue that they're the greatest place on earth. Yeah, but like really, it's a place you walk in, and they have billions of books,
And they just let
and
you
they give them
take
to you for free, and then that's
They're
it.
just like, here, take this stuff and bring it back. And if you don't bring it back, they're like, jerk, that's 1 cent.
Right, but they after COVID they've now removed fines from libraries. At least
You
in our
should still
state.
pay your fines and bring your books back, but like,
Yeah, just because they need the money.
They need the money, right?
Right, but like, who could be anti-library?
Right.
Libraries are the greatest
Even
place.
if you don't like books, they're like, hey, use a computer. Here's a movie. It's like, oh, all right, thanks, library.
Yeah, literally, like,
Are you an elderly woman? Here's some magazines.
it is the only thing your tax dollars go to that's probably worthwhile.
Right, that's why your library's only open 1 hour a month.
All right, M is mystery. Yes.
I like mysteries, not as much as this junkie.
Oh, I love
but I do like them.
Give me the mysteries. Yeah. I don't really read a lot of cozy, although I'm trying to explore that. I think next year I'm going to try to explore cozy a bit more. All right, N is nonfiction. I do like nonfiction a lot. I wish I read more. I'm going to try.
I'm going to go cold here. I like some nonfiction. I like more
Military stuff.
reading. I like learning stuff I don't know, so I don't really want to read a whole novel about something too often.
Novel.
Well, you know what I mean, a whole book of it. I'm more like, I'm going to learn about rivers and how they work. And I'll just, like, look at that stuff on the interwebs for, like, 3 hours. I'm not going to read a book about it. So I don't know why. So it's weird that way. But.
Yeah, like, I used to not like nonfiction, but I really started to get into it. But I don't read as much as I'd like. All right, I'm going to go for O. It's Omnibus. I'm going to say nah.
I mean, the only good thing about an omnibus is it's great for home defense.
Yeah, I mean, mostly when it comes to omnibus, I'm thinking comic omnibuses, and I do prefer the single issues, or at best, a trade paperback. Yeah. The omnibuses are just too much, and they make it hard to read.
Yeah, you're like flipping pages, and you're falling over.
Yeah.
You get trapped beneath it, and you're like, I'm dying.
P is poetry, and hell yeah.
I mean, I guess I gotta go with, I like a lot of poetry.
I actually need to read more poetry.
I dislike a lot of poetry, but I'd say I like more...
I haven't actually. I feel like I don't read any poets from like the last 100 years. I really do need to start reading more poetry.
I told you, my boy Billy Collins.
Yeah. Well, there's and I got the girl who spoke at the Amanda Gorman. I got one of her books.
Oh yeah.
I thought that was pretty cool. Yeah, and so I mean, I try, but like, there's a book that's out right now, and I forget the title, of course, right now. But I really wanted to read because I just like the title, even though it's a poetry collection.
It's called Book. Come take a look.
No.
It's poetry. It rhymes, you get it?
Yeah, poetry doesn't have to rhyme.
You don't have to rhyme.
All right, Q, and you're going to get Charmander ready.
Okay.
Quests. Heck yeah. The hero's journey is one of my favorite archetypes. I just love it. Who doesn't?
I like when people are going places. I prefer when they're trapped places. Because if they're not going to be trapped, I want them to have a nice, arduous journey.
Right. If it's not mystery, then give me a hero's journey.
Arduous journey.
So that's where I like fantasy, probably. Yeah. That is the fantasy I like, is anything quest related. I mean, you like choose your own adventures. That's like literally you are on a quest.
Some of them are even called quests.
Right.
The Quest to Light Mountain, for example. A fine read.
Get Piplup ready.
Why you stop spoiling stuff?
Romance.
First of all, you should put Charmander up.
I don't. I like some
You
Danielle
love
Steele.
romance. You're always like, I hate romance. And you like read 3 million romance books.
No, I read a few that I do like. Some YA romance is cute, and I like Danielle Steele. But what do you like romance? Have you ever read a romance?
I probably have read something, haven't I? Maybe not.
I think next year we should we were going to do this year swapping reads, and we just haven't. But I think next year we should give each other 10 books or 12 books, one a month, that we agree. Starting in January, that's what we're going to do. We're going to do that. We're going to make a video.
We're not going to do that.
Yeah, he's going to pick 12 books he wants me to read in 2024, and I'm going to pick 12 for him. But they have to be completely...
Books.
No, it's not about length, but just things that, the person would literally never pick up. If it was. So, yeah. So let's do that. All right. As science fiction. So I'm going to say yes. I don't think I read enough of it, but I do like it when I do read it. Well, it depends. I don't like alien stuff, but...
You're an alien.
I like dystopian.
Xenophobia. It's not cool nowadays, folks.
I like dystopian stuff.
I like sci-fi a lot. A lot of my favorite stuff is sci-fi. So.
All right, so T. This is a soft one.
I hate
Translation.
Tea. I mean, yeah.
I'm a dumb American. I only speak English.
Yeah.
So I can't read other books if I can't get them translated. But I definitely can feel it sometimes that I'm missing something.
Reminds me of the famous joke. What do you call someone who speaks several languages?
Non-American?
Multilingual. What do you call somebody who speaks one language?
American. Yeah,
yes.
Right. I'm a dumb American.
Yeah, I like translations because I'm not about to learn fluent German to read some book I want to read, despite the fact that Seymour suggests I should.
Seymour?
Yep. There's a reference. Did you get it, BookTube?
From, Raised High the Roof Beams?
Not that story. But close.
Perfect Day for Banana Fish.
Yep. Now you're supposed to give it away. You're supposed to let them live somewhere in my brain, and then they can torture themselves about it.
No, I hate
You've
that.
ruined it.
I hate when I watch a video and someone's like, "Here's a thing. Leave a comment."
Well, I'm not gonna say leave a comment.
Don't do that.
I'm just trying to torture.
All right, you is Ubermensch. Nah.
Yeah.
Oh, stop it. You read superhero. Put it away. You have 400 superhero comics over there.
So anyway, Crime and Punishment focuses on the Ubermensch a little bit. Yeah.
Also, you love superhero comics.
Okay, but Ubermensch is not necessarily
it's about superhumans.
Yeah, it's about a guy who is beyond what your capacity.
Right, but you love that.
Sometimes.
Although actually, that's not even true. Maybe you shouldn't because you like Spider-Man, you like Batman.
She's telling me what to do.
Yeah, but you don't like.
I hate actual Superman.
Yeah, I was gonna say you don't really like Superman.
But I'm putting up here mostly for Crime and Punishment. All right.
Yeah, give me a person who's flawed and sucks at life. Those are the characters.
Those are the characters I relate to.
Yeah, well, they're realistic. V. Guys.
For Vendetta.
V is my thing.
For Velociraptor.
Victorian.
Oh, yeah. I do like Victorian stuff quite a bit. Because I talked before, I like when they take the air and take their dinner and stroll on cobblestones and adjust their hats and such. And hopefully a monster comes out and eats one of them.
Well, Sir Chug will walk through a bookstore or a library, and he'll go, "Hey, here's a book you want," because it's literally just a guy walking down a gaslit lane with some cobblestones and some gaslights, and somebody with a hat, and someone has a cane, and he's like, "You want this book?" Especially if it says murder.
Yeah, it's just an assortment of ladies discussing something of significance and mysterious nature in the corner of a cotillion. She's down for that too.
Oh yeah, I love it. I would have died of cholera, but I still love the Victorian era.
You're gonna pause this thing? It's you've read it a long time here.
I think we're okay. Well, we only have a few left, so we'll just finish. All right, W. Western.
Yeah, bruh.
Nah.
What? I love Westerns. Yeah. There's not a ton of great Western books. There's a lot of Western books. They're
probably
pretty
really read that many.
Yeah, I gotta read more, because the ones I read I really like. I love me some Western movies also. But yeah, Western books, the ones I've read, I really love. One of my favorite books this year, True Grit, Western.
Yeah, one of your favorite film genres, and I just do not like them. I don't. Guys, I like things about girls.
She's busy loving romance.
I like things about women, and women don't do well in a lot of Westerns. They're basically dead, dying, kidnapped by somebody, or prostitutes. That's it. That's your options as a woman in the Western world. So, although I love Bone Tomahawk, women don't have a good chance in that either. But that's horror, so that's it works for me. All right, X rated. Nah. I don't need, that doesn't need to be
I
in my
mean,
book. Leave it out. You've already covered why
we discussed it in a previous video why I really, really do not like sex scenes in books.
Yeah, in case you didn't catch it, it's because he pictures the author.
Yeah, I don't want to. I'll be reading a book, and some of these sex scenes going on, and whoever the author is, they just pop into my head, and I see them eagerly typing. It's very, very
like Stephen King and George R. Martin. Those are the people he's thinking.
Yeah, because
that's
they're
what he's
writing
reading.
sex books. I'm like, I don't want this. This is against my code of life.
So Y is going to be a soft warm. It's YA, and I used to love YA. And I'm really not feeling a lot of that I'm reading lately. But partly because I've looked at, like, YA fantasy, don't like it. YA thrillers I'm not really liking. I tend to really prefer YA contemporary anyway. And I haven't really read a lot of YA contemporary. So that could be part of the problem. So I do like YA, but I haven't liked it as much lately.
I like some YA books, but most of the YA books I like are not really YA. They're like YA character-wise, maybe even slightly plot-wise, but they're generally written above what is considered YA levels.
Yeah.
So the stuff that's written at that level, I usually dislike. And the few that I have liked have now been just like copied and ripped off so many times. I hate. I really not hate, but I don't read them anymore. I try to avoid them if I can.
Yeah. Okay, so Z, this is our final one. And this is Zeitgeist. So I'm going to interpret this as basically, I mean, it's obviously of the time. I mean, that's kind of a tough one because, like, do I like the Zeitgeist? It depends what the Zeitgeist is. But he's
extra cold.
You don't like contemporary fiction?
No, I don't care what's popular. I don't care.
No, I don't. I'm not looking at. I'm thinking like things that represent the contemporary era, and I do love contemporary work. Like, so I like books about like social commentary, talking about implicit racism and bias, talking about like the Me Too kind of movement. I don't want them to be like, hey, this is about the Me Too movement, but they're talking about violence against women. They're kind of capturing what's going on socially, but at the same time, like, that really depends on the era. But I mean, to be honest, even like the historical novels I like are contemporary to their time. Like, I love Victorian novels, but I love the ones that are like Pride and Prejudice, where it's just like, this is going on in the Victorian era, and it's like contemporary, Elizabethan or whatever.
I mean, I like
not
things that
Elizabethan,
are contemporary to their time that are not contemporary to me.
Yeah.
Most of my favorite books are older things or take place in an older time period. Like books that are trying to make social commentary, most of the time for me it feels either forced or preachy or just generally poorly executed. I mean, I'm not saying there aren't good ones out there.
Right.
I just have not really run into too many of them.
Yeah, I think it really just depends. Like I said, it depends what the Zeitgeist is. Like, right now the thing is like romantasy, and I don't like that. So no, if you ask me right now what's popular, not my thing. But I do like topics about racism.
What should be popular is this Victorian frog.
So what do you think? Do we misinterpret anything? Well, I guess it's our
Do you have a
interpretation.
favorite letter? Do you have a favorite frog?
No.
No? Alright, that's all we got. That's the end of the alphabet. So now, Color Trill's going to sing the alphabet song for you. Go.
Bye.
Boop.